Hello and welcome back. There's this specific kind of anxiety that you get when you're running a business. It's not the big stuff, not the will this product sell kind of thing. It's the invisible stuff.
The administrative landmines, they're everywhere.
Exactly, the things that wake you up at 3 a.m., the paperwork, the compliance, the stuff you don't even know you don't know.
It's a bit of a wake-up call, I think.
And today we are doing a deep dive into one of those landmines. We're looking at a stack of documents, articles, and research from Lafayette Process Servers, LLC, specifically a series they call Paper Trails. And I have to be honest with you, this research, it made me sweat a little.
I can see why. For a lot of business owners, especially here in Louisiana, this is going to be a shock to the system. It really
Yeah.
challenges the standard way of doing things.
Before we get into the scary stuff, and it does get a little scary, we need to acknowledge who's making this possible. The Paper Trail series is sponsored by 337 Media.
Right, the local powerhouse.
If you're in Acadiana, you've probably seen their work, even if you didn't, realize it. They are the engine behind a lot of successful local brands. They handle everything from building these beautiful, highly functional websites to mastering local SEO.
And, in the context of what we're talking about today, credibility, visibility, doing things the right way, 337 Media is exactly the kind of partner you want. They get you seen by the right people.
Absolutely. So if you appreciate the insights we're unpacking, consider supporting the companies that support this content. Go check out 337 Media. They're doing great work.
Support local. It really matters.
Okay, let's get into it. The topic today is registered agents. And I can almost hear some of the listeners groaning already. Registered agents, really? It sounds like the most boring box-checking exercise on the planet.
It does. And that boredom is exactly what gets people into massive legal trouble. It's the quote-unquote boring stuff that kills businesses.
So our mission today is to figure out why this boring decision is actually this high-stakes gamble. We're going to look at why listing your home address on your LLC documents is basically setting a trap for yourself. And we're going to break down this really unique fail-safe system that Scott Frank, he's the owner of Lafayette Process Servers, has developed.
I think the best place to start is just let's strip away the jargon. Because registered agents sounds so official, but most people don't actually know what the job description is.
I'll be honest, when I've started businesses or helped friends set up their LLCs, I just assumed a registered agent was me. I thought it just meant who's the owner.
That is the most common misconception. But legally, they are two very, very different things. The owner owns the company. The registered agent is the designated target.
The target. That sounds a little ominous.
Well, legally speaking, yes. The registered agent is the person or entity that is designated by the company to receive service of process. That's the fancy legal term for lawsuits, subpoenas, summons, basically all the official bad news.
So if I get sued, the papers don't just go to my store manager. They don't go to my email inbox.
No. The court doesn't care about your store manager, and they generally don't trust email for that initial hit. The state of Louisiana requires a specific physical throat to choke, so to speak. They need one address where they can legally guarantee you've been notified.
Okay. Throat to choke is vivid, but I get it. But what does the job actually involve? Is it just checking the mail once a week?
See, this is where the check-the-box mentality fails. It is not just checking the mail. The Louisiana Secretary of State has extremely rigid requirements for this role. First, as you might guess, you have to have a physical address in Louisiana. No P.O. box is allowed.
That makes sense. You can't serve a lawsuit to a box. You need a human.
Exactly. But the second requirement is the hard one. The registered agent must be open and available during normal business hours. The statute specifically implies 8:00 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Available, like sitting at a desk, just waiting.
Physically present to sign for documents, instantly. You can't have a sign on the door that says back in 15 minutes. You can't be out to lunch. You can't be picking up the kids from school. If a sheriff or a process server walks up to that door at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, someone has to be there to open it.
Okay, hold on. If I'm a solopreneur, like, say I'm a consultant working from home, or I run a food truck, or I'm a real estate agent showing houses all day, I can't promise I'm going to be sitting at my desk from 8 to 5 every single day. That's impossible.
And that is the first crack in the foundation.
Yeah.
Most people who list themselves as their own registered agent are technically already in violation of that requirement. They just haven't been caught yet.
Because they're human beings who have to leave their houses.
Precisely. You have a life. But the state demands a statue. And the source material from Scott Frank argues that while that availability issue is a legal technicality, the vulnerability issue is immediate.
You're talking about the privacy aspect.
I am. Because when you list yourself as your registered agent, you aren't just telling the state where you are. You are telling the entire internet.
Let's dig into that privacy trap, because I think we live in an era where we just assume, oh, my day's out there anyway. What makes this so different?
What makes this different is that the Secretary of State's database is public record. It is free, and it is searchable by anyone. When you file your LLC and list your home address as the registered agent office, that address gets scraped by data aggregators instantly.
So it's not just on the government website. It ends up on all those find a business directories and everything.
All of them. Within weeks, your home address is syndicated across the web. And it's not just junk mail you have to worry about, though you get plenty of that. The source material really emphasizes the physical security risk.
The angry customer scenario.
Right. If you run a business long enough, you will eventually have a dispute. It's just unavoidable. Maybe a client isn't happy. Maybe an ex-employee is disgruntled. If your home address is your registered address, that angry person knows where you sleep. They know where your kids play in the yard.
That's chilling when you put it that way.
It just completely removes the barrier between your professional risk and your personal safety.
Yeah.
Bringing the boardroom battles into your living room.
From Lafayette.
Yes, and this story really stuck with me. It is a perfect example of what they call the embarrassment factor.
Walk us through what happened to Michael.
So Michael was a typical business owner, smart guy, successful, but he wanted to save a few bucks during startup, which, we all get that. So he listed his home address as his registered agent office. Fast forward a few years, and like a lot of businesses, he gets involved in a contract dispute. He gets sued.
Okay, standard business stuff so far. Lawsuits happen.
But because his home was the registered address, the process server didn't go to some office building. He went to Michael's house. And here's the thing about process servers. They often work in the evenings, specifically to catch people when they're home from work.
Oh, I see where this is going.
It's 6:30 p.m. Michael is having dinner with his wife and kids. Everyone is relaxing. And then there's a loud knock at the door. He opens it, thinking it's a neighbor or maybe a delivery. Instead, it's a stranger handing him a stack of legal papers.
In front of his kids.
In front of his kids.
Right.
The source describes it as humiliating. It brings all the stress of a lawsuit right into his sanctuary. The one place he's supposed to be safe from work was just violated. All because he wanted to save, $150 3 years ago?
And that's just the home scenario. The notes also mention the retail scenario, which might actually be worse for your wallet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine you own a coffee shop or a little boutique. You list the shop's address because you think, I'm there all day anyway. Until a uniformed sheriff walks in past a line of customers. He walks right up to the counter, asks for you by name, and hands you a court summons. Everybody stops talking. Everybody stares.
You look like a criminal.
It signals instability. Customers start wondering if you're going out of business. Your employees wonder if they're going to get paid next week. It just kills your credibility in seconds.
So the privacy and reputation risks are real. But I want to pivot to the legal mechanics, because there was a term in the notes that I had never heard before, and it sounded terrifying. The vacation trap.
Yes. This is where that strict 8 to 5 rule comes back to bite you. This is the technical knockout. This is the part that lawyers know, but most business owners just don't understand until it's too late.
So paint the picture for us. What is the vacation trap?
Okay, so let's say you're your own registered agent at home. You decide to take the family to Disney World for a week. Or, heck, let's make it simpler. You just go out a long lunch on a Tuesday.
I'm allowed to eat lunch.
You are allowed to eat. But at one point EOPM, while you're eating that sandwich, a process server shows up at your front door with a lawsuit. You're not there.
So they leave a note, right? Like FedEx.
Sometimes. But here's the danger. If the process server tries to deliver the papers, and you aren't there during those statutory hours, 8 to 5, they can document that you were unavailable. If they try a couple of times and can't catch you, because, you're at Disney World, the plaintiff can go to the judge and claim you are evading service.
Evading? But I'm just on Space Mountain. I'm not running from the law.
The court doesn't know that. And because you are legally required to be there, your absence is your fault. And this can lead to the plaintiff asking for something called a default judgment.
Default judgment. Define that for us, because it sounds final.
It is the nightmare scenario. A default judgment means the judge rules in favor of the person suing you simply because you didn't show up to defend yourself.
Wait, so I could lose the lawsuit without ever knowing I was sued?
Yes. That is exactly what it means. You come home from Disney World, relaxed and happy, and you check your bank account and find out it's been frozen.
Er,
Or you find out a lien has been placed on your property. You lost the game because you weren't even on the field.
that seems incredibly harsh.
It is harsh, but the legal system runs on strict deadlines. Once a lawsuit is filed, a clock starts ticking, usually 15 to 21 days for you to respond. If you miss the handoff of the papers because you are on vacation, the clock starts ticking without you. By the time you find out, the deadline's passed. Game over.
So the savings of being your own agent is really just a massive unhedged bet that you'll never be sued while you're on vacation.
That's a perfect way to put it. You are betting your entire business on your ability to be home at 2 p.m. on a random Tuesday.
Okay, you've convinced me. Doing it myself is a terrible idea. I don't want the sheriff at dinner, and I definitely don't want to lose my business because I went to lunch. So the obvious solution is hire a service.
Right. That's the logical next step.
But here is where the Paper Trail series gets really specific. Scott Frank and Lafayette process servers are pretty critical of the big national online services. You know the ones I'm talking about.
They are. And their critique is really valid, especially for Louisiana businesses.
What's the problem with the big guys? They're cheap, they're digital. What's wrong?
The problem is that most of those national services are basically just giant mail scanning facilities. They might be based in Delaware or Nevada. They have a warehouse full of scanners. When they get your lawsuit, they scan it and they email it to you.
That sounds convenient. Digital is good.
Digital is great until it isn't. The problem is the reliance only on digital. Emails go to spam folders. People change email addresses and forget to update their vendor profiles.
I do that all the time. I have like 3 email addresses I never check.
Exactly. And if that one email from the National Service hits your spam folder and it's a lawsuit, you are right back in the vacation trap. You don't know you've been sued. The national company says, hey, we emailed you, we did our job.
Yeah.
But you still default.
So the technology that's supposed to make it easier actually introduces a new point of failure.
Precisely. And this is where Lafayette process servers really distinguishes themselves. They've introduced what they call the fail-safe protocol.
I love that name. Fail-safe. It sounds very military.
It's appropriate because it's all about redundancy. It's a 3-step system designed to make it physically impossible for you to miss a document.
Okay, walk us through the steps. How does it work?
Step 1, pretty standard. Digital first. They scan the document and email it to you immediately. Just like the big guys, speed is important.
Okay, got it.
Step 2 is verification. They don't just send it and pray. They require a read receipt or a confirmation from you within 24 hours. They're actively monitoring to see if you actually opened it.
And if I don't, what if I'm in a coma or hiking the Appalachian Trail where there's no Wi-Fi?
And that brings us to step 3, which is the key differentiator. This is the failsafe. If you do not reply, Lafayette process servers will physically drive the documents to you.
Wait, they get in the car?
They get in the car. You have to remember, Scott Frank isn't just a guy with a scanner. He is a court-appointed private process server. His entire team are licensed professionals who specialize in finding people.
That's wild. It's like reverse process serving.
It is. Instead of serving you a lawsuit to attack you, they're serving you the lawsuit to save you.
That's incredible. So if I'm totally checked out, if my internet's down, if I'm in the hospital, someone is actually going to come find me and say, hey, this is urgent.
Yes, and that is something a call center in Delaware simply cannot do. They're not going to drive to Carencro or Baton Rouge to hand you an envelope. They're just going to shrug and say, we sent the email.
That physical backup seems like huge peace of mind. It basically eliminates the default judgment risks.
It closes the loop. It guarantees receipt. And in the legal world, guaranteeing receipt is everything.
Let's talk brass tacks. Usually when I hear concierge service or we drive to your house, I hear expensive. My wallet starts to hurt.
You'd think so. But the source material is very clear on the pricing. It's a flat rate of $200 per year.
$200. That's it.
That's it. Less than $17 a month.
That is surprisingly affordable. I mean, that's the price of one nice dinner out for 2 people.
It is. And when you compare it to the cost of a default judgment, or even just the legal fees to try and undo a mistake, it's negligible.
And what does that $200 actually cover? Is it just the fail-safe part?
No, it's the full suite. You get the commercial address protection, so their address goes on the public record, not yours. Your home stays private.
Huge. That solves the angry customer problem right there.
You get the instant digital uploads, so you can view your legal mail from anywhere in the world. You get junk mail filtering. They shred the credit card offers and only send you what actually matters.
I'd pay $200 a year just for someone to shred my junk mail, honestly.
Right. It's a nice perk. And, of course, they ensure compliance with the Secretary of State, so you're always in good standing.
Now, we mentioned they drive to you.
Mhm.
We should probably clarify where they're located. They'd need a physical presence in the state to make this work.
Correct. Lafayette Process Servers maintains physical offices to ensure 100% compliance. Their HQ is in Carencro at 3U419 and W Evangeline Thruway. But the sources also mentioned they have locations in Metairie to cover the New Orleans area and in Baton Rouge.
So they have the major metro areas covered.
They do. And regarding credibility, it's probably worth noting that Scott Frank is BBB accredited and a member of multiple chambers of commerce Ascension, Livingston, West Baton Rouge. This isn't some fly-by-night startup.
It really sounds like they've looked at the specific pain points of Louisiana business owners, the strict laws, the privacy issues, the gotcha moments, and just built the system that plugs every single hole.
They have. It's risk management, pure and simple. They took a look at the system and just said, where are people failing? And then they built a bridge over that failure point.
So if we zoom out, what's the big takeaway here?
I think it comes down to valuing your own peace of mind. As a business owner, you're constantly managing risk. You buy liability insurance, you buy fire insurance, you hope you never have to use them, but you buy them.
Right, it's just part of doing business.
This fail-safe system is basically insurance against an administrative error destroying your entire business. It's insurance against an email going to spam.
And protecting your family's privacy. I keep going back to that dinner table scenario with Michael T.
Me too. That image of the sheriff at the door.
Yeah.
That's not something you ever want to experience. It's so invasive.
So let's recap the main points for the listener who might be driving or on the treadmill. Number 1, don't be your own registered agent unless you want your home address all over the internet and a target on your back.
Number 2, the legal requirement to be open 8 to 5 is strict, and violating it, even for lunch, can lead to you losing a lawsuit automatically through a default judgment.
And number 3, Lafayette Process Servers offers this fail-safe where they will actually hunt you down in a good way to make sure you get your legal papers.
All for the price of a dinner. It really is a compelling value proposition.
If anyone listening is sweating a little bit, maybe they just realized their home address is on the Secretary of State website right now. What should they do?
The reporting in the source material provides the contact info. You can call them directly at 337-247-9027. Or you can visit their website at lafayette-process-servers.com.
Now, before we sign off, we have to include a very important disclaimer, right?
We do. This is crucial to understand. Lafayette Process Servers, LLC is not a law firm, and they are not attorneys. They do not provide legal advice or legal strategy. Their role is strictly limited to the receipt and forwarding of service of process.
So they can make sure you get the lawsuit papers, but they can't tell you how to argue the case in court.
Exactly. If you need legal assistance, you need to contact an attorney or your local bar association. Don't ask your process server for legal advice.
Good to know. We always like to leave a listener with a final thought. What is sticking with you from this deep dive?
You know, I keep thinking about the hidden costs of free decisions. We so often think that doing something ourselves is free. I'll just list my home address, it's free. But the cost is your anonymity. In the digital age, privacy is becoming a luxury. But here, it's a luxury you can actually buy for $200 a year. It just raises the question, how much is your privacy actually worth?
That is a great question. Is saving $200 worth risking your family's privacy and the potential legal collapse of your business? I think for most people, the math is pretty clear.
I would agree.
Well, that wraps up another deep dive. Huge thanks to Scott Frank and the team at Lafayette Process Servers for the paper trails content, and of course, to our sponsor, 337 Media, for making this happen.
It was a pleasure.
Until next time, stay curious and maybe check your LLC filings today, just to be safe.
Couldn't hurt.
See you next time.